I'm back in my studio. Thanks for joining me today with the nice lights and camera and everything. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh-Toronto trade today, headlining forward Kasperi Kapanen. Now, the Penguins get Kapanen, defensive prospect, right-handed shot Jesper Lindgren, not to be confused with Toronto's second-round ranked prospect by the Hockey News, Timothy Lindgren, and also forward slash nomad traveler Pontus Aberg. Toronto gets a Pittsburgh's 2020 first round draft pick. That will be 15th overall in a deep draft. They get depth forward Evan Rodriguez, forward prospect Philip Hollander, and a AHLer slash nomad traveler of the NHL, 30-year-old David Warsofsky. Now, first, let's look at a close look at what the Penguins get here. Starting with Kapanen, the headliner in the deal. He's 24 years old, 6'1", 194 pounds, born in Finland, son of Sami Kapanen, as you might know. He's a right winger, but he can play the left as well. He's got a cap hit of $3.2 million over the next 2 seasons. And he's a gritty, feisty type of player who's one of the fastest skaters in the NHL. In previous years, there's been rumors about him going to Carolina and Edmonton, about them wanting to get this guy on their team for those reasons. Now, this is in this past season, it was his second full season with Toronto in 2019-20, and in 69 games he had 13 goals, 36 points, and was a 0 in the plus-minus category. Bit of a sophomore slump for him, to say the least. In his first full season with the Leafs in 2018-19, though, in 78 games he had 20 goals, 44 points, and was a plus 12. Now his playoff numbers in 25 games, he had 4 goals, 7 points, was -8 with 16 penalty minutes, 14 of which came against the Columbus Blue Knights in that play-in round series, by the way. The knock on Kapanen is that he's not the best passer, and his hands aren't, and his brain aren't as fast as his legs. He tends to shoot the puck a lot at the goalie's chest or just miss the net entirely. And he just doesn't, the way he thinks the game isn't quite up to par. But when he's paired with Sidney Crosby, he's been known to make more with lesser players. Now, Kapanen has, plays mostly the right side, but he has played left. He's played in the top 3 lines with the Leafs. He's played with Matthews and Tavares, and mostly, though, he played with Kerfoot on the 3rd line this season, and nothing totally really gelled for him. He's a great penalty killer, though. He's been known to be very dangerous at scoring shorthanded goals. He's kind of a young Michael Grabner, really. So Pittsburgh is definitely getting a player here, and I'll talk about who I think won or lost the trade a little later on in this video. Who else did Pittsburgh get? They got prospect right-handed shot defenseman Jesper Lindgren, not to be confused with Toronto's number 2 ranked prospect by the Hockey News, Timothy Lindgren. Now, Jesper Lindgren's 21 years old, Swedish, 6 foot, 161 pounds, has 1 more year left before he becomes an RFA. He's making just over league min. And with the Toronto Marlies in 31 games, Toronto's AHL team, in 31, he had 1 goal, 9 points, and was a plus 5. In last season with the Marlies, he didn't play at all. He played in the Swedish league, in Liga, last season, in 45 games where he had 2 goals, 19 points, and was a -2. He had troubles cracking Toronto's AHL lineup this past season, but there's definitely some upside there for Pittsburgh. He wasn't ranked in Toronto's top 10 prospects by the Hockey News, so just keep that in mind. But you never know. He's still pretty young, only 23 years of age. He's getting there. where he's should be named, either a bust or whatnot. He was drafted, by the way, in the 4th round by Toronto in 95th overall in 2015. Let's move on to Pontus Aberg, the last piece here for Pittsburgh. Now he's 26 years old. He plays both wings. He's a right shot. He's got a cap hit of $700,000, which ends this season. He'll be a RFA. They'll have to re-sign him. It shouldn't be a big deal. He's 6 foot, 194 pounds, Swedish player, and in 55 games with the Toronto Marlies in the AHL in Toronto, he had 20 goals, 44 points, +2, not bad at all. In 5 games with Toronto in the NHL, he had 1 assist and was a 0 in the plus-minus category. He was drafted originally by the Nashville Predators, which is where he got his only playoff experience, with 18 games, 2 goals, 5 points, -1. He's also played for Edmonton and Minnesota and Anaheim, which is where he arguably had his best NHL season with the Ducks. In 37 games, he had 11 goals, 19 points, -10. Now, let's move on to the Toronto package. Starting first off, they get cap space, right? That's $3.2 million that comes off the books for him, which is incredibly important, seeing as how the cap ceiling is not moving, not just for next season, but probably a couple seasons after that. They also get, which is important, Pittsburgh's first rounder, 15th overall. Will Toronto trade that for a much needed defenseman, or will they keep it? Because, it's a deep draft. What more can I say about that? This finally gives Toronto fans something to salivate at when the draft comes up in what will be, is it early October, September? I don't know. I can't remember. In any case, Toronto also gets Evan Rodriguez, who is a nice depth player, bottom 6, maybe 4th liner, penalty kill kind of guy. He's 27 years old, 5'11", 184 pounds, Canadian, plays center and left wing. Thing is, he'll be an RFA, and the Leafs will have to pony up $2 million for him, and I think they'll probably walk from that. Obviously, maybe there's a way to circumvent that and get him league minimum. If that's the case, I could see him being sort of an extra healthy scratch sort of guy who steps in maybe on the, through injuries on the 4th or 3rd line. Now, in 7 games for Pittsburgh this season, he had 1 goal, 1 point, was a 0 in the plus-minus category. With Buffalo, because he was traded from them, in 38 games, he had 5 goals, 9 points, was a -8. Arguably, his best year was in 2018-19 with the Sabres. In 74 games, 9 goals, 29 points, and was a -7. Yeah. Then, the Leafs also get prospect Philip Hollander, which is a really nice piece in this trade. Now, he was ranked 3rd overall in Pittsburgh's top 10 prospect list, ranked by the Hockey News. And now he's got 2 more seasons left, just over league min left on his contract before he becomes an RFA. He's a center, but he's also listed as a left winger. He shoots left. He's 20 years old, 6'2", 188 pounds. He's Swedish. 2 more years left on his contract. Did I mention that already? I guess I did. Now, the problem is he hasn't really played any North American hockey. And in the SHL this past season, in 27 games, he had 5 goals, 14 points, and a +8. Now, the Hockey News says this about him in their prospect rankings here. He said he is playing a key role for an excellent Luleå club in Sweden, if that is how you pronounce Luleå. He's sturdy, protects the puck, wins board battles, and skates well. There are 2 issues he faces. First, he has to stay healthy. He missed 3 months due to a broken leg. Second, he has to prove his offensive upside isn't limited. He's a 2-way guy, but we want to see a bit more of Patrick Hornqvist in him, where he's that hard to play against. He's young, so you don't see that type of confidence yet, but they say they think he can get to that point. Now, so that's a nice piece for Toronto as well. I see him probably playing for the Marlies next season. I don't think he'll make the team, but you never know. Last off, Leafs get sort of, I don't want to say he's a throwaway, but out of respect, I guess. But David Warsofsky, who's a 30-year-old, left shot defense, 5'9", 170 pounds. From Massachusetts in the United States, and he's got one more year left on his contract at $700,000 before he becomes a UFA. And in the AHL, where he played this past season in 51 games, he had 10 goals, 33 points, minus 33. He was originally drafted by St. Louis in the 4th round, 95th overall. He's played for Boston, Pittsburgh, New Jersey, and Colorado as well. Who do I think wins this trade? Well, the Penguins definitely get the best player out of this, who will be able to impact their lineup right away. Kapanen can definitely play in the top 9. When it comes to playing with Malkin or Crosby, he could be a top 6 player. He could be very valuable for them. Who do I think wins this trade? I think the Maple Leafs. I think I'm going with a consensus here as well. Freeing up $3.2 million in cap space means the Leafs can go up and sign a UFA or make a trade and bring some money back, especially when it comes to that stagnant cap. That is huge. Getting a first rounder on top of that, 15th overall in a very deep draft class, is a big win as well. Getting Philip Hollander, a prospect who could step into the Leafs lineup maybe in a year or two. A very tough, gritty kind of guy who can play really well in tight checking areas or games, when it comes to the playoffs. That becomes especially important as well. He could become definitely a role player for them. So that's a definite bonus. And then you throw in Rodriguez. Excuse me if I mispronounce that. If they can sign him for league min, they can, work around that, that $2 million, which they have to qualify him for. Maybe he could be useful. Otherwise, it's not a big deal if he walks. And David Warsofsky, a veteran D in their AHL club. That's it. That's all. I would love to hear what you think of this trade, especially you Pittsburgh and Toronto fans, down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which will probably be about, I'm looking at doing an off-season video for all 31 NHL clubs. That'll be coming in the following week. And I also just finished a bunch of videos predicting round 2 playoffs. I'll put up links to that throughout this video if you haven't seen them already. Thank you so much again. Please be kind to each other out there, and I'll see you soon.